after a spiritual awakening, I wouldn't say that my emotional triggers disappeared on its own. That really wasn't my case at all. But it does become much less personal. I just don't take the drama the ego creates that seriously anymore. And I'm much more aware of it. During an awakening, a huge emotional purge starts to happen. Higher energy is surging through your psyche, so wounds or trauma that has a lower vibration starts to rise to the surface to be purged out. So you might find yourself reliving those painful moments and, it can get really intense. There would be times when I would stay awake at night, unable to sleep because the wounds, even the ones I forgot, rose to the surface and I was forced to look at it, understand it, forgive myself for my own limitations, and then ultimately understand that people involved believed that they were doing the best they could given their own limitations. And so at the end, all there is left is compassion for everyone involved in the trauma. When I get to this level, the trigger goes away permanently. But as I was saying, the whole healing journey becomes much more feasible, much more palatable after an awakening, since you're not really taking your ego as personally as you once used to. There's always a background tone of peace, like a feeling of all is okay. And this background tone becomes your predominant state. Meaning, if you're not doing anything or just zoning out, then you find yourself in this feeling of peace and contentment, when once you might have constantly felt an underlying tone of anxiety, nervousness, dissatisfaction, or anger in the background. So at this stage, it's hard for you to completely lose yourself in the trauma or the wound. And if you do lose yourself temporarily, it's easy to come out of it. Okay, let me give you an example of how I deal with triggers now versus before the awakening. Before awakening versus after awakening. I'm someone who has low self-esteem. It's okay. I'm actually okay being someone who has low self-esteem. I know it's something people don't want, but actually it's not bad. There are benefits of having low self-esteem. But the reality of having a low self-esteem is that I feel losses and failures more acutely. So when someone criticizes me, I go into a mind space of questioning my own worth. Not so much these days, but that's how it used to be. So that's one of my triggers. If someone criticizes me, and especially if I happen to agree with them, then I feel deep shame. I start to feel defensive, angry, unworthy. And it's as if in that moment, I'm seeing me through their eyes. And, I look small, worthless, and pitiful. Now, before, there was no space between me feeling this way and me acting on these feelings. So as soon as I started feeling bad, right away, I might have started telling people off, getting defensive, thinking of ways to get back to them, and etc. And then for days after, my mind might have played the scene over and over, what I should have said instead of what I had said and how I should have acted and all that. The whole experience would have jolted my center. Now, after my spiritual awakening intensified, I have more space between feeling this way and me acting on those feelings. I still feel everything, the anger, the defensiveness, all those thoughts of playing the scene over and over. But I'm more relaxed about it. I know everything that's playing out is all okay and normal. I know at the beginning, I'm going to feel the intense emotion. But I also know that it'll dissipate soon on its own if I don't continue to feed into it. So going back to my example, at first, I don't resist the emotions. I let it play out. I also let the angry thoughts play out in my head. I'm not trying to stop the emotions or stop myself from being angry. If I need to rant and cry or whatever, then I let that play out too. All without judgment. It might look ugly or awkward, but that's how it needs to show up right now, so I don't judge. So I'm just quietly observing everything playing out. Now, if the emotion gets too overwhelming, I stop and ask myself these questions. How long can you sit with the discomfort? How long can you feel the intensity without doing anything about it? That usually makes me come out of it because now it's more like a challenge than me feeling helpless to it. After my emotions and thoughts have been exhausted, I give myself time to recuperate from the emotional exhaustion, and I'm extra nice and extra delicate to myself. And then later on, when I feel that there's enough quiet, enough space, I start doing the inner work of exploring my triggers, the root cause, forgiving myself for my limitations and all that healing stuff. Throughout it all, there's always a background feeling of okayness, that all is okay. And because this feeling is my predominant state, I always come back to that space of knowing that nothing needs to change. No one needs to become different. Everything is okay as it is, and everything is being played out as it should. In conclusion, I genuinely like having an ego. Most times when I'm feeling a certain emotion like irritation, frustration, sadness, or quote unquote negative emotions, I like it. I find it amusing. I know it could be odd to say this, especially since having emotions like depression, emptiness, and anxiety are all very challenging. But overall, I enjoy it. Just like the way I would enjoy a sad movie. You might feel sad and even cry during the movie, but you also know that it's just a movie designed to make you feel this way. So, it's all in good fun. Right now, I'm having a great time grieving. I lost my animal companion, my bunny, a few weeks ago, and I could still see in my mind the last day we were all together. My husband Jay, me, and the bunny in the car, driving to the center to get her euthanized. In a moment of weakness, Jay suggested missing our appointment and instead driving straight ahead to the mountain in front of us, going on a picnic all day, just the three of us, and then going back home feeling happy. And sometimes I wish that was what had happened that day instead of what actually happened. I feel sad and I miss her, but I'm having a good time missing her. It's not a feeling I'd be able to experience without an ego, because without an ego, I wouldn't be able to feel the loss. I would constantly sense her presence and know that there's no such thing as death, only change. But I don't know, what's the fun in that, Anyway, thanks for hearing what I have to say. I feel so grateful and so incredulous that there are people out there like you that, resonate with my journey, because for a long time, I thought I was alone in this. So thank you. Until next time, regards, Ray.
Oh no.